Hey guys, and welcome to a Phoenix replay commentary. You know, I don't normally do that much, but I just had a good quick match with him, so I just want to show it to you, show the new here to you. Just a little small caveat. Obviously, the patches hit live for the EU servers, so he might be changed soon because he seems a little overtuned. You will see yourself, but just with a grain of salt, if you are going to play him the next couple of days or next week or whatever, he might not be the same numbers-wise, but he's still going to be fun. So, level 1, both sides were pretty equal from lineups there, from the lineups point of view. So I thought it was a okay match, even though it is quick match. We're playing Q Quest Advanced Targeting on level 1. That means when we hit our enemies with our Q, we're going to get stacks, more damage, and then the Q will also do another round from the point when we get 30 stacks. Fenix is a pretty good hero, even if his numbers weren't great. So he definitely does a lot of things right at the moment. And we're going to go through all of that. First couple of fights here, you see already I have two different attack animations. One of them is a smaller attack. And you see above Fenix also the two modes that you have. And you see also his E here escaping. So you have weapon mode, face bomb, and weapon mode repeater cannon. Repeater cannon is basically a very quick attacking move, or attacking auto attack. There you go. And then the face bomb is a slower attack, but does splash damage. So you also have a longer range with the W if it is on face bomb. So that means wave clearing is much easier for you. And the only thing that you have downside on is that you shoot less quickly. So you have to be aware of that. So I'm trying to get my Q stacked here on him and miss out a couple of minions. But you can see that he also has a shield. Fenix has a shield on his passive. So basically he doesn't only have life points, he also has a shield. So the good thing about this is that the shield regenerates similarly to Meridian's trait. That means if you're out of combat for a while, the shield will regenerate. We're going to see this here. You can see in the bottom 2, 3, 1 seconds, and now it's regenerating slowly. It takes 10 seconds to fully regenerate, so that means that while you can be out of combat and regenerate, you do need to be careful to not be hit, because if you get hit by anything, minions, mercenaries, heroes, the cooldown will activate. So this is the way that you probably clear waves with him now. W on face bomb, and then you just like auto attack into the minions. You can clear the ranged minions pretty much alone on your own and get your melee creeps to, or your whole creeps to kill all of the enemy minions in the front line. So if you hit the mage minion, you hit the ranged minions as well, meaning you can take out everything and also freeze the lane. I'm not doing this here because I don't want to get hit by the other Phoenix. So now you can see what I'm doing here. I'm trying to kill the mage and range minions first so that my minions have a better time doing this. Due to his shield regenerating so much and rather quickly, he trades effectively against pretty much any hero, even those that have a self-heal or self-sustain. I had a match against Marthael, and he couldn't out-sustain me, and even if he did damage me, it was just to my shield. So even after trading a little bit, I would just regenerate my shield, and he had the need to regenerate his life. So every next trade that I did with him was pretty difficult for them. This is what Fenix at the moment does a little bit too good. His sustain is really strong, and then you could just see my E getting out of the fight allowed me to basically run away from Varian, who closed the gap between me. And it's very difficult to interrupt the E, which is called warp. So the warp is difficult to interrupt, but there's definitely a small window where you can get interrupted, even if the animation showing up already. So it might be a little awkward sometimes. I had a couple of games where I felt that it was interrupted, even though it should not have been interrupted. But it's the only downside Phoenix at the moment has, that sometimes this E can be interrupted. So we shouldn't be complaining too much. This is also obviously my perfect fight. We're staying here for a very, very long time, meaning I can stack my Q on a bunch of heroes. Again, going in, hitting 1, hitting 2, and this is what I mean. Like, so I teleported out. I obviously lost a lot of life here as well, but I'm regenerating life now, and I'm regenerating shields now. So even though I'm only on half life, I also have half shields, so I'm basically a full hero. This is really powerful, and as you can see, my damage is also pretty crazy. Use my E to follow up, and now I switch to repeater cannon to be able to do more attacks in succession, so quicker attacks, which is probably what you want to use to chase heroes. And you can see I already have 37 stacks, which is ridiculous because of the fight that we had around this tribute. So my plasma cutter also does another rotation around me, meaning I have more opportunities to hit enemies. So yeah, he's just crazy at the moment. Like if you look at the damage, I'm already at 16,000 damage, and we're only 5 minutes in. It's really, really strong. Like if you get fights where you can stack your plasma cutter, your Q, it's going to be very, very difficult for the enemies to catch up on this. Another thing why he is at the moment is a little overtuned, I think, is what you're going to see here now. We want to do the boss. And I can literally tank the boss, what I'm doing in a second after the stun. So I can tank this boss. I lose my shields. And now I just step back, only lost a little bit of health. And my shields are going to regenerate in 1 second. There you go, it's regenerating now. And in 10 seconds it's going to be up. So I can now go again into the boss. He can hit my shields. I'm not losing any life. So this is really, really strong, and is the reason why he trades so effectively, because you never lose your life, you just lose your shields. Obviously, if you lost your shields, it can be difficult for you to stay, because you don't have that much life. But as you can see here, like I get dropped very lowly. I only have like 1,700 life, so let's pause it real quick and look at Tyrande. She has 1,300 life, so I even have more life than her, with, you know, a level lead. But I'm also having the shields, which are at 1,163. So I'm a little, like I'm a lot tankier than she is. So I can trade into her very effectively. Before we go on, I'm just going to go through over the talents from level 1 to 7 again. So again, level 1, advanced targeting. Q stack is at the moment probably the most chosen talent. It's very, very strong. Mobile offensive is the other alternative that you have, I think. Auto attacks. You want to play with that, it's definitely also viable. The Artanis on the other side does it. Sorry, the Phoenix on the other side does it. And you can see his damage is actually quite comparable. 5,000 less, you know. But it's definitely something that you can do. On level 4, I have to say that Emergency Protocol is probably the best talent, in my opinion. Because you get movement speed when your shields are depleted. And that's exactly when you need the movement shield, when you have to run away. So I think this is really strong. The Warp Conduit, the cooldown on takedowns could be pretty cool. But when you're running away, you don't get a cooldown reset normally, because you're running away from somebody, right? So I feel like it's not that strong. And then the other two talents are, in my opinion, pretty weak. Target acquired gives you movement speed when you hit heroes with your basic attacks on the repeater cannon, on your fast attacks. But you have to hit them, and they have to be slowed. So there's like two conditions for it, so that you get advantage from it. But this just activates when one condition happens, that is your shield is depleted. And the inhibiting energy, I feel like this is like okay if you are very well protected. Like if you play Hero League or something and you can afford to just like try to slow everybody around the main target or something, this is a more offensive ability rather than something that you can use defensively. So the other three are probably more defensively. That being said, you can obviously also use warp offensively by warping in. On level 7, with the Q build, you go for the Q talent. Plasma Cutter deals 50% more damage to slowed heroes, which is very, very good because it actually slows heroes itself. So when you hit somebody with a Q, they're slowed down. It's easier to hit them again with the Q, and if you do hit them again with the Q, they get more damage. Warp Warfare gives you attack speed. I think this is pretty much useless because it only gives you attack speed for the repeater cannon, so they're already very quick attack. And it's already difficult to actually interrupt his auto attack. So even if you A-click and move, like A-click, right-click, it's very difficult to actually interrupt his auto attacks. So this means that to get the full bonus or benefit from this talent, you need to stand still. And normally you don't want to stand still in Heroes of the Storm. So I personally don't think this is very good. I've read Power Weapons. I played around with this. And it actually is pretty cool. You basically deplete your shields and do a lot of damage. I personally think that this is going to be useful in solo lanes where you dominate the lane very quickly and gives you more opportunities to clear the waves and also do damage to buildings. So I think it can be powerful. That being said, if you don't want to lose your shields because they have a very dive-heavy lineup, you probably don't want to go with this. Okay, continue on with the replay. My team is doing team things. I'm deciding to stay here with the boss and also take level 10. And we're going to play... so, I'm going to play Planet Cracker here. I decided very late for this. I'm deciding now because she's so low and I really want to kill her. Look at this. She's so low, so I'm just playing Planet Cracker. And this is what Planet Cracker does. It's an unlimited range beam, basically a Kamehameha from Dragon Ball Z. And just destroys everything in its sight. It does huge amounts of damage. It does 162 damage every 0.25 seconds, so it's crazy. It doesn't do it to buildings, so that's something that you can just like, you know, kill forts and keeps with it. And you're stunned while you're doing it, you're channeling it. So it definitely is difficult to use in some points because you can't like steer it after you casted it. But it's just so much fun to use and it feels so rewarding if you kill somebody with it. The other heroic is Purification Salvo. Basically, you scan an area in front of you, select the heroes that are in that area, and then you shoot basically balls of damage to them. If they're slowed, they get more damage from that attack. But it's channeled, not channeled actually. Like, so basically you channel it, but you can't move while you're channeling it, while it's acquiring targets. And then once the channel is done, it just attacks. It's definitely a very good heroic. It has a much shorter cooldown as well, and it can do crazy amounts of damage as well. So the only thing that you need to do with this, I think, is have a slow on the enemy. Otherwise, it doesn't do as impressive numbers as it does with the slow. If you have an Arthas, if you have Murden, somebody who can do a lot of slow, that's really strong. We're gonna see it right here, actually, by the Phoenix, but I wanna by the enemy Phoenix. But I wanna show you something else. So your W has a huge range if you are on the plasma bomb. Oh, sorry, face bomb. So if you, I wanted to see if we can see the range, but we don't see it in this. But if you look at the Karazim, I want to dismount him, and I have the W active. Look how far away I am, and I still get to dismount him. And this is really powerful about Phoenix as well. This is the other salvo, the Purification salvo from the enemy Phoenix. So if you look at the blue beam that's happening, he's acquired a couple of targets. That's not a very good shot here. All of us are targeted basically. And then I think now... Okay, now. Actually, he gets interrupted or something. I don't know. But anyway, like this is how it looks. Like he shoots balls. And this is how... Okay, we have to look at this again because it's so funny. So, we're going to zoom out for this. So again, this is the salvo that he does. He actually shoots it, so you can hear the pew pew pew. That's him. And this is Planet Cracker. So, I mean, obviously these guys are all low, right? But it's just so satisfying to use it. And I actually didn't even kill them, but it's still very, very fun. It has a 100-second cooldown, while the salvo only has 75 seconds, so it's 25 seconds shorter cooldown. Which means that the salvo is probably the heroic that you want to go for in most of the cases. On 13, you have a pretty good variety of talents, I think. Adanium Shell gives you armor when you warp, which I think is really, really strong as well. Because you can engage with this too. And then Dampening Field gives you 15 spell armor while your shield is active. I think especially against mage setups, this can be useful. Rapid Recharge, I think, is kind of like a trick talent. I haven't tried it out fully, but it says whenever Phoenix is healed, you get a recharge for 20% of the healing. That means, in my opinion, again, I have not tested this, that if you don't have any life missing, you might not recharge any shields. So, therefore, it is probably not a very good talent. Even if you get a shield for healing or for overhealing, I don't think it is as good as auxiliary shields because these give you 20% more shields. Reduce your HP by 10%, but you already have pretty much a lot of HP. So, like for an assassin, for a squishy assassin, you have a lot of HP, in my opinion. So losing 10% is not the end of the world, but gaining 20% of your like 20% more shields is actually very, very good. And for 20% of the damage you deal, you also regenerate your shields. So this will come handy with the level 6 talent that we're gonna pick, because whenever you have shields active, you will do more damage. That means that even if you get your shields depleted by somebody, you do an auto attack and you have a little bit of shields active, and you will do more damage. Again, Q, taunt, and I've still have my shields up and I teleport out. And this is what I feel is also a little stronger at the moment. W is meant to be not so good against heroes, I think, but it actually does pretty well. And the issue with that is that it's the safer attack, it has more range, it does quite a bit of damage as well, and you do splash damage. So it's like everything you want from an attack, basically it is happening in with this attack. I think the range increase that you get from it is a little bit unnecessary, and therefore it's a little awkward that it's so good. I want to show you something here as well. You can see that my W in this case only hits one of the two guys, so I'm pulling them together. That's a neat little trick that I'm going to pick up with another video as well. Bakery talked about this as well in one of his videos, but you can basically pull mercenaries. And we're going to have a look here on this from this perspective. So to finish the mercenary thought, the mercenaries, you can pull them a little bit so that they stand closer together, and then you can hit them with your with the W without switching the target. So that's really good. So we talked about level 16. Offensive cadence would be the auto attack talent, which basically means your every third attack does more damage, and you already do more damage with your auto attacks when you stutter step. So this is the alternative that you take when you don't go Q build. I think it's actually a lot of fun to do that as well, because you basically have a cool little mini game where you stutter step and try to attack heroes while staying, safe. I think it's a very cool talent. And then Arsenal Overcharge is also basically, what is it called? I can't remember right now. But it reduces my ability cooldowns by 0.5 seconds. So basically, whenever I hit something, it reduces my cooldown. So that means that also for QCAS, actually, it might be beneficial to take this. Most of the people that I've seen take photonic weaponry because it just does 50% more damage while you have a shield. So it's kind of like you always want to have a shield and you always do more damage, and you have your level 13 that gives you shields when you do damage, but has a good synergy with this. But I think Arsenal Overcharge can be useful, especially to recharge your warp as well. Okay, so the enemy team has caught us in the boss, and now we're gonna see why I love Planet Cracker. So satisfying. I mean, we're 5 levels ahead, obviously, and Fenix is, again, I think a little bit overtuned, but the combination of the slow from the Murlocs, from Murky, and Planet Cracker is just disgusting. Yeah, nobody can move out of the way, and you just do a lot of damage. Overall, I think he's going to be a lot of fun to play, Fenix. Even if his numbers get reduced a little bit, he still will be, I think, a pretty good hero. Offensive teleport in, but yeah. Again, if you're up this much, it's obviously also a little bit distorting the actual picture of the hero. That being said, if you look at the damage, it is pretty disgusting. 40,000 damage in like 11 minutes, it's pretty good. Let's pause it real quick before we end the game and the replay. On level 20, I think all of them are pretty viable talents. Secondary Fire is good if you have already finished the Q quest. Because hitting a hero basically fires a plasma cutter. Sorry, hitting a hero with plasma cutter fires a purification salvo missile. What you saw about the heroic of the other Fenix, the little ball shooting out. Whenever you hit a target, you basically deal more targets. Sorry, holy moly! Whenever you deal damage with your Q, you do more damage by shooting a little ball at them, and then also it does increase damage to slow targets. So you already, slowed somebody, and then they get more damage from this. So I think this is really strong and fits very well with the Q build. Singularity Charge is definitely good if you go for the auto attack build. It gives you 50% more attack speed, and Face Bomb grants more range. So basically, on your repeater cannon, you fire even faster. Again, I'm not 100% certain if you can really benefit from this without standing still. So it's a little bit, But another range on your face bomb is like immense. Like you can do a lot of damage to people without being out of position for a long time. Like it's really, really strong. And then Unconquered Spirit, if they have a lot of dive, if it's late game and it can be the last team fight, it can be super good if you have something that just saves you. And this is basically indestructible from Johanna, but instead you get a little smaller shield and you survive. And it has a 220-second cooldown, so 2 minutes. But I think, again, if you have a late game team fight, Towers of Doom on the last tower or whatever, I think this can save games. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Fenix. If you have a different build that you're playing at the moment, put it in the comments. If you also think that he's too strong, please put it in the comments. But other than that, that's him for now. Again, I'm pretty sure he's going to be changed a little bit very soon. And the Murky had some fun as well. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.